The AFC North video. This is just projections for that division itself. Here's a cool website that I've used. It's an NFL playoff predictor. I think pretty much everyone uses this. It's a really nice editor. I think the guy who does this, Rayleigh enough, I think his name. I'll link it in the description if you want to use it for yourselves. So we're going to start with the AFC North for today. I'm going to go through each division because I think it's just easier for me to kind of look at the specific divisions and then go on from there. So first game we have is the Ravens versus the Browns. This is going to be a tough game for the Ravens, even though they have a really, really good team. They do. I'm really interested to see how Lamar Jackson takes that playoff loss, because usually it's the quarterbacks who take it the most. It's not really like the defense or the offense. It's usually the quarterback, which is kind of odd because he's the leader of the team. So we'll see what he does. However, in this game, I just think the Browns, they're just not proven enough. They have the talent to beat this team. However, they did lose some talent in the linebacking core, which kind of loses them some of that spark. But they did get Grant Delpit in the draft, which I think is a really, really good decision for them. And so hopefully they will be able to improve. I think they will this season. However, I think the Ravens beat them in this game. So next up, they go to the Texans, who I'm not very high on. They lost DeAndre Hopkins, and they lost some significant help in the secondary for this team, which has been kind of a big issue for them for like a decade. And I'm so surprised Bill O'Brien's there, considering what he's done to this team. But he's their best coach. So, but that's not saying much. But with this team, I think it's prime time. Yeah, it's prime time Sunday night. I just think the Ravens are too much for this Texans team. They don't have the defense to back it up, and the offense has been neutered. So I think the Ravens are going to come in and get a win. Then we have a big primetime Monday night game with the Chiefs and Ravens. I think it's going to be a very, very high-scoring game. However, I think the Chiefs come in into the Ravens. Hey, guess what? You may be good, but we got Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to make your defense mincemeat. And this was going to happen. The Chiefs come in, defeat the Ravens, and do their job. So next up, we have the Redskins versus Ravens. I don't think this is really a big matchup for the Ravens. I think they're going to win pretty easily. We have the Bengals versus Ravens. I think the Bengals could put up a fight in the points category, but not really affect the Ravens' morale. They're going to be fine. The Ravens will be fine in this matchup. Eagles versus Ravens. The Eagles have a really, really good team, but so do the Ravens. I just can't see the Eagles winning here. I see the Ravens as a better team overall. I think they win this game against the Eagles. Against the Steelers do have a knack for going into their stadium and kind of destroying things. It is also likewise the Ravens end up going to Heinz Field and just messing up with the team. However, I think the Ravens will win this matchup. So they get a good bye week. The 8th week is a really, really good bye week for teams. And then they go in, they face the Colts. The Colts are a very interesting team. They did lose Pierre Desir in a trade. Or did they let him go? I think there was a trade or they let him go. But that was a good piece of their defense to let go, which is bad. However, this team is still very, very loaded. I'm still interested to see how Phil Rivers does with this team. He's not really getting any more weapons in Los Angeles, but he is getting more offensive line support. So hopefully that will limit his interceptions this year. And I think the Colts will come in and throw the Ravens off their game, because the Colts are very disciplined, and that's really the type of teams that will beat the Ravens. The ones who are disciplined and those who kind of keep their blocks and keep their areas. And that's the reason why they won so many games. It's because they weren't exactly super, super difficult to deal with. They just gave a lot of very moving parts that were kind of hard to deal with. So if you weren't extremely perfect, you would get beat really badly. I think the Colts are this type of team that will give them a little bit of a tough time. So then we go over to the Patriots. We saw what happened last year, and this is without Tom Brady now. I just don't see the Patriots winning. Ravens, even if it's in Gillette Stadium, the Ravens will win. Titans versus Ravens. I think the Titans win. I think the Ravens are going to have a tough time against this team, and the Titans they're getting better. They did lose Jack Conklin I think he played the right side, which is a problem for them. But they did gain some help in the defensive line, and they gained some help in the passing game, which is good as well. So I think the Titans will win this game, even though the Ravens are quite tough at home. Steelers here. Part of me thinks the Steelers will win because it's at Heinz Field, but I also said that the Ravens have a knack for going into Heinz Field and winning. So I feel like the Ravens will win here as well. The Cowboys have more talent. However, Dak is kind of being a little bit of an annoyance. He's kind of been, I think they offered him $175 million over 5 years, which is insane. It would have made him one of the highest paid quarterbacks, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not taking it. And it's just like, dude, what are you doing? You're good, but you've not really shown any really success outside what you've done. So the Ravens win this. Week 14, I think the Browns win this game. I think the Browns will hit their hit their stride. I think they'll find what they're good at and what they're bad at and find a way to beat this Ravens team. I think they beat the Jaguars, no contest. I think they beat the Giants, no contest. Now we have an interesting matchup for the Ravens here. Do they go get the win, or do they kind of just sit back and let Week 17 go around? However, I think by the point they're in at Week 17, they're going to have to play some other starters because I think there's going to be a team, maybe the Browns or the Steelers, that at Week 17 are going to kind of be sniffing for that spot in first place. I think the Ravens will win this regardless of if they need to or not. So their losses go to the Chiefs, a very, very high-powered team, Super Bowl winner last year. The Colts, who I think are very disciplined and have a lot of talent. We have the Titans, who destroyed their season last year and kind of just gave them a big middle finger saying, hey, guess what? You're the Ravens, but whatever. We're going to come in and run Derrick Henry all over your ass. I think they're going to do it again. Not to the same degree of dominance, but I think they're going to give them a little bit more than what they can handle. I think the Browns, they're going to show some people that they can win some games. I think the Baker's going to get tired of that kind of mantra of the Browns being losers and finally getting this team to the place it needs to be. Speaking of the Browns, here's their schedule. I think they beat the Bengals, a very, very easy team to deal with. I'm not high in the Bengals. Their team as a whole actually is kind of fine, but they're just not. They don't have the right pieces just yet. Against the Redskins, I think they're going to win. Against the Cowboys, though, I think they're going to lose. The Cowboys are a tough team offensively to maybe deal with, even without Dak Prescott, if they still have him or not. But I'm kind of assuming they do at this point just to make things a little bit easier in myself predicting this. And the Browns, I think, they're very, very similar teams talent-wise. I think they also have the same sort of mantra when it comes to discipline. In the regular season, they kind of are pretty decent at being disciplined, but then when it comes to later on, it's like they start getting a little So we'll see. Colts versus the Browns. This isn't their tough game. I said the Colts beat the Ravens because of their discipline. So can they go in and beat the Browns here? I don't think so. I think the Browns will have a big home crowd this year, kind of trying to push them to what they can be. I think they beat the Colts. And the Colts kind of have these games. They're sort of like the Steelers in a way where they go into places where they should win and they don't. I think the Browns will kind of show them that they can win in this conference. Speaking of the Steelers, I think the Steelers beat the Browns here. I think the Steelers kind of still own the Browns on their home court. At Heinz Field. And I don't think that's going to change with this new, less loaded roster the Steelers have, who they kind of embody the Steel Curtain now. They're very, very rough and gruff. Their defense looks really, really interesting to me. Against the Bengals, I think they're going to win. I think against the Raiders, this could be an interestingly tough game. John Gruden has this knack for going into teams that are good and making their life miserable. However, I think the Browns are going to win this game. I think they're going to beat the Texans, who I'm not very high on this season. I think they're going to beat the Eagles. I think they're going to beat the Jaguars. I think they're going to lose to the Titans. I might need to revise something here, actually. Yeah, I'm going to revise these maybe against the Eagles. I'm going to wait for that, just to end the Colts. I'm going to wait for these two games. They're going to beat the Giants. I think they're going to beat the Jets. I think at home in Week 17, they're going to contend for this division, so they're going to beat the Steelers. And then the two teams, I think they'll lose to the Colts because if they can beat the Ravens, they can probably beat the Browns. And against the Eagles, who wins here? Is Carson Wentz healthy? Who knows? It kind of just depends on his day of the week. I think the Browns win here. They go 11-5, which is a very, very good record. But the reason I put them, like the Ravens need to win in Week 17 is because of this one week. Because if the Ravens lose here, they don't get to the spot they need to get to. So this is the Steelers, who are a very interesting team to predict because they have talent. They're obviously not the big three, the Brown, Bell, and Roethlisberger. They're not the big three, but they still got Juju Smith-Schuster. They still have a good, decent offensive line. They have a defense that is kind of really interesting to me. They're very young, but they're also very hungry to win. So we'll see what this team can do. Against the Chiefs, against the Giants, I think they'll win. Against the Broncos, I'm going to wait because the Broncos are a team that has a really good offense now. They've got Cortland Sutton. They got and they picked up some really good guys in the draft. I forgot their names, but two really, really good wide receivers who, if Drew Lock does not do well this year, it's his fault. Literally, they've given him all the weapons they need to. They do have some lacking parts on defense. They did lose Chris Harris, which is a big part of their defense, but the defense is a lot like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're rough, they're young, they're hungry, so hopefully they can push forward to this game, but I'll wait a little bit later on in the season to see how I feel with that game. I'll predict it a little bit. Against the Texans, I think the Steelers will win. I think against the Titans, they'll lose. I think against the Eagles, that's tough. Against the Cowboys, they'll lose. I think against the Bengals, they'll win. Jaguars, again, not higher on this team. I think they'll win that game. Redskins, I think the Steelers will win. I think Bills are just a better team. I think the Bills win. Against the Bengals, I think they beat the Bengals. Against the Colts, I think they lose to the Colts. So they're at 7-7 now. So they're going basically 500 through most of their games. However, I think it's the Broncos. I think they lose. However, against the Eagles, I think they win. So they go 8-8, 500 record. I just don't know what to think of this team. They don't have a whole lot of really great talent, but they could surprise me. Games they can obviously flip. They can flip the Broncos game. I can definitely see them doing that. I can see them flipping the Cowboys game. I can see them flipping the Colts game. I can see them, easily going 11-5, 10-6. But right now, I'm not super high on this team. Here we go, the Bengals, which they're rebuilding, so they're going to have to wait a bit. Against the Chargers, I think they're going to lose. Against the Eagles, I think they're going to lose. Against the Jaguars, who are kind of in a worse situation than what the Bengals are, I think the Bengals are going to win. I think against the Colts, they're going to lose. I think against the Titans, they're going to lose. I think against the Redskins, interesting game to predict here. Who has the better talent? I think the Bengals have the better talent. I think the Redskins have a really, really kind of low-key good defense. Not a horribly great secondary, but a really good front seven. But I don't think I trust Dwayne Haskins in that offense just yet, especially because they lost Trent Williams on the outside. And they deserve to lose him because he's been treated horribly by that organization. Against the Giants, I think they lose. The Giants they have more talent in my opinion. Against the Dolphins, interesting. Who wins this game? I think the Dolphins have better talents than the Dolphins win here. Against the Cowboys, they obviously lose. I think against the Texans, they lose. 2-14, yeah. Not a good year. I can see them winning against the Ravens if they kind of feel like they don't need that 12-4 spot. I'm just not very high on this team, considering how much talent they have. So, yeah, that's really what I'm predicting here for the AFC North. Obviously, when we get here, these teams are going to look a bit different, and I'm going to go to the whole playoff section when I get there. But a 12-4 Ravens, the lowest I can see them going is 9-7. It's still a winning record, but maybe Lamar Jackson has a slump, or this defense has a slump, or something happens. That's as low as I can see them going. The Browns, I can see them going as low as 6-10. They have a knack for going really, really low because they have so much talent, but they have really, really bad discipline. I don't know what it is, but hopefully this team gets back on track because the amount of talent they have, they need to get back on track with this talent. The Steelers, I can see them go as high as 11-5 probably. I can't see them going anymore, but I can see them low as going 7-9. They have a really good margin of error. 7-9 I think is the lowest, but as high they can go 11-5, which is good because I don't see them really losing or winning a lot of games. So we'll see what this team, what it brings next year. The Bengals, I think this is the lowest I can see them. 12-4 is probably the lowest. I can't see them going any lower than that. As high, I think 7-9 is probably the highest I can see them winning. I can see them beating the Browns, yeah. I can see them beating, again, like the Browns again. I can see them beating the Browns twice. The Steelers, obviously, I can see them beating the Giants. I can see them beating the Dolphins. I mean, obviously, there's room for improvement in where they can win here. I just don't see them winning all that many games. So, yep, that's the AFC North right now. My projections, obviously, these are probably going to be wrong because they always are. The NFL season is very volatile, and especially this year. So we'll see what happens. But, yep, those are my projections. I'll get the next divisions out in a couple. So see you.